Good afternoon everyone. It's been a little while since we did a video like this, but we're just going to basically dive straight into it. This video is on the request of a subscriber, Alex, asking about Hazard and what we think about him for next year and what the kind of analysis tells us. Okay, now Hazard is not something I need to tell you too much about in terms of what he's like, what he offers, strengths and weaknesses, that type of thing, okay? But the real question marks become, what are Real Madrid going to do next year? And what kind of impact can he relatively have, and what will that translate to in terms of the index? Okay, so if we look at the graph you see here over the last 3 months, he's also peaked out with the speculation becoming more and more rife, and Europa League run, dividends, scoring goals, all that great stuff he was getting up to. And recently he's petered away, and the reason he's petered away is because people are chasing media madness, and if the transfer is signed, sealed and delivered, the media attention is going to fade away. And that's not what people are after now. They want media attention, okay? But quite soon, and like I've been saying the last bunch of videos especially, you need to be angling yourself towards IPDs soon, and PB bonuses, people who are going to be winning treble match days and this type of thing, okay? So if we first of all have a dive in and we have a look at the season he's just had, right? Now, I was really excited for Chelsea and Hazard's season this year when Sarri got appointed, because one of the first comments that Sarri really came out with pre-season, if you recall, last year, was that Eden Hazard has to meet the bar that Mo Salah set. He's playing in the same league, same position, and the goals he scored and the influence he had in the team was incredible. And if Hazard was going to be seen as a world-class player and one of the best that Chelsea have ever seen, one of the best the Premier League's ever seen, then that's the bar that's been set to him, and he had to really stand up and make an effort towards that. And I think that challenge really lit a match under him, because I think this was probably one of his best seasons at Chelsea, if not his best season. 16 goals, 15 assists, he basically ran the team. He was really good in Europa League. Didn't start too many, Sarri was quite happy to rotate him in and out, second legs and first legs and this type of thing. But still, nonetheless, he influenced that quite greatly. And obviously for Belgium, he's the main man as well, okay? So he's just come off the back of a really impressive season, a really good season. And he's moving into a Real Madrid team that is definitely went backwards in the last 12 months, okay? So if we use the new little tool we're using, the now Foot Mob, we go right into the club here. And what you can see is Real Madrid scored 63 goals this season, conceding 46, so it's not actually that many goals. And when you look at the top goal scorer being Benzema at 21, and then the next Real Madrid player top goal scorer was Bale on 8. Assists was Benzema topping it at 6, joint with Modric. Then they are crying out for firepower since Ronaldo left. And if you compare that to the season before, Ronaldo's last season, they scored 94 goals, so they've basically lost all of Ronaldo's goals and not replaced it. It's as black and white as that. And I know that sounds like a bit of a cliche, but the numbers, how many did Ronaldo get? 26. So minus 26 from 94. And I don't think we're going to be too far away from 63, to be honest. So it's a straight replacement. Now, we've also added Jovic into the equation as well, right? But goals come from assists. People need to make goals for you to finish it. For guys like Benzema, for Jovic, for Mariano Diaz, and whoever else might be floating about. And Hazard has definitely had this kind of season where he could go on and provide these assists and these goals, okay? So I think I'm not really telling you too much right now you're not aware of, okay? But if we have a look at the actual index itself, okay, and when you're thinking about these types of positions, what we do is price comparing, okay, just to get a gauge of where the market values that type of player, okay. And straight away, 2 of the top 3 are not in England, okay, which is cool. But also, sorry, 2 seconds, need to turn the power back on. Battery's running a bit low. 2 seconds, just going to fire up. Hope that isn't too much of a background noise. I'll check the video before I put it out, of course. But so as you can see, the top kind of La Liga player is Messi at 482. I don't think he's going to surpass Messi in a lot of ways in terms of performance and goals and influence and whatever as well. But you can see there's a bit of scope already for movement. And then, as I say, if you look at the top 2 guys, Neymar and Mbappe, they're just much bigger media magnets, and Hazard, he's not going to get to that level as such, okay? But when you kind of see the level he's floating about, he's definitely got as much value in him as in the guys like Sterling, like Sancho, in terms of what they can do on a match day and the kind of media presence he has already. Now, the big focus on the index is around the Premier League, of course, because of the media that comes around with the Premier League. And you can even see it today. Sadio Mane is top of the media rankings at the moment, and it's just about him talking about he loves Liverpool and he's looking forward to African Cup of Nations and all that type of thing. But the second league that holds a lot of credibility journalistically in the Football Index is La Liga, and you will remember match days gone by this year where guys like Messi has won media because he scored an amazing goal, or even guys like Coutinho have won media before by having, and Suarez as well, by having that Premier League link already. The media are familiar with them and they're a story that the journalists want to keep on top of, the developments and how they progress in their career. You can expect to see the same thing with Hazard. So the prices at the now, £4.40, I think is relatively attractive, especially when you get into the fact that if Real Madrid go all blazing, unless they score 94 goals, how many goals will he be taking part in? It will almost certainly be, at the worst case scenario, the same as Chelsea, because La Liga, as we know, is an easier league by and large if you play for Real Madrid or Barcelona versus playing for Man City or Chelsea or Liverpool or whoever. So the likelihood is he's going to score somewhere between 15 and 20 goals, and in terms of assists he's likely to be in amongst the top 1 or 2 in the league, never mind the club. So when you factor all that in terms of IPDs, he could potentially earn you per share. You're talking about per share if you were to time it right, because also the IPDs are only valid for the first 30 days, but you're talking about earning somewhere in the region of, let's just call it 40 pence across all competitions, okay, which is 1%. So if you get 1% in IPDs, and then off the back of that you're likely to get a couple of match day dividends, in terms of best forward, whether it be a treble in a Champions League, and it might even be a cheeky single match day midweek, then the yield that he's potentially going to offer you is very attractive when you compare him to Hudson-Odoi, Rashford, Foden, Greenwood, all these guys that they are cheaper, but they're in a similar sort of price range. Harry Kane, Raheem Sterling, Jadon Sancho, these types of guys as well. So the prices at the now, I think, is relatively fair. I don't see him. The only way I see him really growing and jumping up to something like £5 is with market growth, more money being on the table and more people buying in is the real thing. But if the market was to stand still where it is right now with his expected performance, I think he's at quite a safe position to buy. Obviously if you could buy him at £4.24, like you can see the low in the graph there, even better. But the thing with more expensive players like this, and I've seen this in a comment to somebody recently, I can't remember what platform it was on, but you have to be prepared when you buy somebody like this for the worst case scenario. Okay, if you're looking for an easy buy, someone who you can just pump money into and turn the lights off and forget about him and come back to it in a couple of months' time, he's definitely a great candidate, because as much as I'm forecasting what I'm forecasting with you now, if he was to drop the first 2 or 3 games in La Liga, score hat-tricks and rip it apart, then his price will soar, because people will think he's going to overperform on the forecast I've just made, for example, and then the dividend yield will be higher than what we've forecasted, and subsequently is more valuable to have, and the thing Hazard is searching for is a Ballon d'Or, and as we know, winning a Ballon d'Or, you really need to be playing for Real Madrid or Barcelona. It's pretty much the way it's panned out, and there'll be no other Ballon d'Or contenders at Real Madrid other than Eden Hazard. So if Real Madrid, I beg your pardon, they go on and win the league, or they do well in the league and they get to the Champions League final, semi-final, they win it, whatever, then he's going to be in Ballon d'Or contention with the Euros, with Belgium next year on that horizon as well. So he could be somebody who for the next 12 months is going to be an absolutely shit hot hold. I don't see him being any less valuable than Sancho, other than the fact that Sancho is English and he will have a transfer after Dortmund to a bigger team. This is Hazard's last big transfer, just for the age he's at, the career he's had so far. After Real Madrid, it is only backwards for most players, but when you're 28 or however old he is, 28, then this is the pinnacle of his career, okay? So what are your thoughts, guys? Drop a comment below. What do you think of Hazard? Good buy, bad buy? Can you wait for him to get cheaper? Do you think he's going to start rising when the games come thick and fast? And the thing as well, guys, last little point, right, is as soon as Real Madrid get into, even on the prices on the now, as soon as they play Bayern Munich on the 21st of July there in the friendlies you see there, if he does well, then again you'll see some movement. If they play well against Arsenal and Atletico Madrid as well, that's 3 games in 6 days. He's probably not going to play them all, but whatever games he does play, if he impacts them, there will be some small movements, and depending on what price he's at before those games, So let's say it's 440 the now, right? And let's say before those games kicks off, he gets to £4.60, just to give you a number, right? If he plays well, you could easily see him moving up by, let's say, 2, 3, 4% on the back of a good performance in a friendly like that, because he'll get media attention that day, potentially win some media bonus, and you know, then people are getting heightened up for, oh, I should buy Hazard this year, I should buy Hazard this year. So you always want to be thinking ahead of the crowd. I think that's probably been the best opportunity to buy him, is that 4.25 mark. But at £4.40, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a great deal of difference of how much money you could make on him for the season ahead, because something like this will be a season long hold. £4.40 is not something you're going to dip in and out of in a 30-day cycle. It's something you want to hold for a good period of time, guys. Okay, so yeah, get the comments below. What's your thoughts on the situation with Hazard? Good buy, bad buy, whatever. If you're new around here and you like this kind of chat, like, subscribe, retweet, all that good stuff, guys. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care, bye bye.